Hey, good evening. Welcome to a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, my last video, which was a late night meandering, really sharing some of my thoughts, just my thoughts. And like all of you, like everybody, I'm entitled to my thoughts, and I have fortunately the platform to be able to express them, and you have the power to not listen or listen, as is your choice. And there's a button there on your phone or your computer that takes you to the next video, which is probably in many cases much more interesting than mine. So I would like to address that the focus of my video that I have just made about what my thoughts were on the way that the world is turning out at the moment, if you could describe it as that, is that it, rather than listen to one person's viewpoint, which is what you're doing right now, just one person's viewpoint, what you perhaps should be doing, what I was suggesting that you do, is to look at the words. It's all in the words. You look at the words, you look at the abbreviations, and you find out what they mean. So when you look at anything from a vaccine to whether a football team is better than the next, you're looking at different sources of information, different data if you wish, and then you compute on it. It's no different to having a calculator and putting in a series of numbers and then pressing total, and the calculator will add all of those numbers up and give you a final figure which you can rely on. Or could you? Can you? If, as I've said before, your calculator was secretly holding down one number in any calculation, and you would be accepting a wrong total. Now eventually it would come out. Time will always tell. If you've added up and it's the particular held down number is, say, minus something, then you will be giving a number that is less than it should be, and if you're paying somebody that will soon be discovered. Now what we're doing at the moment is we're being heavily censored. Even this video could be heavily censored if I quote the wrong kind of number, which has already been flagged for we're not taking any opinions about this. I mean, the son of a particular former vice president is being shielded. Not that that's my focus, but just as an example, is being shielded by the media. So important pieces of information which come out about this particular guy is not given to you. So whatever your opinion is, as you conceive it based on what you've been allowed to read or watch on video, on YouTube, on the media, it will be minus that one vital piece of information, which is a little bit like going back to the calculator and coming up and saying, I don't have the right total here. Now, so rather than just have someone, which there are many, who are telling you this is what you should be believing, this is a hoax, this is not right, this person should not be president, that person should, all of these things are available as the total through a huge variety of sources of information. And my suggestion is not that you need, as one of the subscribers that recently wrote to me said, we don't need, as if to say, we don't need your permission to have a vaccine. Nobody ever said you did. Why would anybody need anybody else's permission? But very soon we may need to have a vaccine, we may need to have some kind of medical treatment which is deemed necessary for us by someone else. Now, it would be one thing to say to a friend, you know, I have a splitting headache, and it would be one thing for him to say, here, have an aspirin, or to hold you down and stuff an aspirin in your cake-hole. That's the point that I have made, and my view on various subjects is simply my view. Now, this is not an excuse for my views. I feel that for the views that I hold, until I get more equally valid information, I will change the total in my calculator to include that information, right? Because I'm seeking to have a balanced view on all of the things that we're talking about. Now, am I saying that no vaccine is good? No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the speed at which this latest vaccine has been produced should be cause for concern to anybody who is going to have it rammed down their throat. We should be able to judge on the basis of previous experience that the flu vaccine, for instance, is still not fully effective. Now, I've never had the flu virus. I've never had the vaccine. I'm sorry. I've never had a flu shot. Now, had lots of friends who sat next to me in the restaurant, chatting away, and said, "I just come back from having the flu shot, and I'm not feeling that great." And then they get over it, and apparently it worked for them. There are others who it doesn't work for, and it makes them feel sick, and so on. You just need to have the right to choose for yourself. Now, there are millions who are dying of TB. Now, when I was in the army as a kid, I joined when I was 15 and a half and went in as a boy soldier into a Scottish regiment, the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. And I went in, I wasn't a soldier, I wasn't fighting, I never fired a rifle in 8.5 years of service. I never did any basic training because I was only a boy. And I went straight to the band of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, and that's where I started off my musical career. I wanted to play the trumpet. No, you can't play the trumpet. Well, I want to play the trumpet. Well, sorry kid, you're in the army now. So I was able to choose secondary the trombone, which as it happens, coincidentally, I had an aptitude for and became proficient on. Alright, so I have the army to thank for that. Now, I didn't like the army really, virtually at all. I realise now that I could have looked at it slightly differently and perhaps got more out of it, but I didn't, because I was a kid, and back then I looked around at what the army did, in my opinion, to other people who were there, and were, after a few years, began to doubt that they would ever be able to make it in civilian life, because the army doesn't fire you. If you're in there and you're serving 6 years, I was serving a term of 6 years, even though the first 2.5 from the age of 15.5 were for nothing. In other words, they didn't count on the 6 years I signed on for. I actually could have changed at any time to 22 years, and I would have had a comparatively handsome pension now, but I didn't, because I looked around and I I felt that the people that were there that were long-term seemed to lack what it would take to make it in civilian life. Now there will be a ton of guys who went in and loved it. I communicate to guys who tell me they went in and they joined up just before call-up, which was around the time of me being 15 and a half. The call-up, right, compulsory national service, was actually drawing to an end. And one friend, subscriber that I've shared a lot of things in common with, he went in and he became a surveyor, engineer, something like that, and came out, and because of his service was able to earn a very, very good living. He was someone who made it work for him. I felt the price for the change in the way that you think was too great, and so to my discomfort I fought it, I rebelled against it, I didn't do great. That was my choice. Now, all that I've ever tried to say, tried to get the focus on, is this. It's not out of any huge amount of wisdom, it's not about a great education, it's not about being technically informed about any of the specific things that I've mentioned in my last video. It's about suggesting that if you are concerned about something, if you feel that someone that you otherwise may respect or listen to, if they are saying something that is slightly different to what your viewpoint is, you would keep an open mind, not disbelieve. This is the key. Don't disbelieve. Keep an open mind and say, where did you read that? Where did you see that? Where did you hear that? And then look at the source. Now, it's very, very easy to look at the source of any information now, because in spite of YouTube, in spite of Facebook, you can still go on and search for something that is to do with the subject that you want to research. So even though I get lots of links and clips sent to me which are banned already, in fact very often some of the videos that I get sent is look at this now before it gets taken down, because we are being censored by private individuals who own private corporations, and they are censoring what we are allowed to see. Hence, the held down number in the calculator is there, and in its data-wise application, it is stopping us from reaching a total overall view of what is going on in our lives right now. Now, one thing which is not a conspiracy theory is what is happening to us right now. We have lockdowns, we have quarantine, we have, in our particular case, we have curfew. I pulled in yesterday into Taliban, by the park. I parked there, parked my truck, and as I'm sitting there, I'm looking at what was actually an old poster, one of those plastic printout posters by Governor Yap. He's the governor of Bohol, and he had made several mandates, and one of them was 24-hour quarantine. 24 hours. And that was for anybody over the age of, I think, 65. You are not allowed out of your house at all. Now, I looked at videos. And of course, when you look at a video, you're looking at it in present time, but it wasn't recorded in present time. You can look back at the video that I made, that Beth and I made, fun videos where we laughed and joked about on carabaos and using a hand plow and God knows what, and you can have a laugh. But it was made back then, 3 years ago. Now, this poster was from the beginning of this pandemic. Sorry, I have to call it a pandemic because I think that it is here. It may well be. I don't have to decide. I don't have to state whether it's real or not. All that I want to do is to say, look at what's happening over here when our attention is being taken over this side. And what's happening now is that we are losing our freedoms, we're losing our liberties, we're losing our rights. In one state that I read about a couple of days ago, it was something like 10,000 small businesses had become bankrupt. That's in just one state. 10,000 videos. So 10,000 businesses gone. They will never come back because when they went, the owners went bankrupt. So they're not coming back. Now, when they first talked about the lockdown, when I looked at Billy Boy, I call him Billy Boy because I call him by his, if I call him by his surname and his foundation, the G Foundation, my video probably will be blocked or censored. So, after speaking code, Uncle Billy and his lovely wife is going to talk about, in the beginning, was talking about the communists. You can look up on the interviews of this person and his foundation, and you will find the videos which talk about the things which I'm referencing now. He said that the communist, listen, the communist way of handling it, of total lockdown, was the way that we should handle it. He's an American who have an almost genetic opposition to communism. Do you remember once, I remember a joke, musician's joke. The guy's coming back on a flight from America, and the guy next to him has a little box with holes in it. He says, "What's in the box?" He said, "Oh, it's nothing." He said, well, what, you've got little creatures in there?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I've got, they're mice, you know." And said, "What? That's amazing. Can I have a look?" And he looks inside, and there's a little band there. They've all got little tiny instruments. There's a drummer and a piano player and a guitar player. And he says, "That's amazing." He said, "I don't understand. Why are you coming back from America? You would make a fortune there." And the man said, "I had to come back. The pianist is a communist." That's how opposed to communism they were. And here is Billy Boy suggesting that the way that the communists in Wuhan, which is where all of this came from, apparently, they locked people into their houses. And of course the horror stories, whether true or not, you have to do your own research. They were locking them in from the outside. So I'm simply saying, don't follow my opinion. You know, by all means, I would love you to listen, watch my videos, watch best videos. That's what we're here for. We're trying to make not just entertaining videos, but hopefully informative videos. Have a look for yourself. Look up RNL. Is it RNH? Look up what's in any of this. Look up what's in the activities of that now famous, probably most famous son of a vice president, and look up what he was doing in China, in Korea. Have a look what was happening there. All of these places that he was active in on the basis of apparently no real experience, and yet earning great money. that's not going to be allowed. You're not going to be allowed to get that in the normal video media. So have a look for yourself. Have a look and see what is being answered, both from Sleepy Joe and his son. And in fact, where is his son? While we're on about that, who knows? Have a look for yourself. Don't listen to speakers who know everything. None of us know everything. Believe me, none of us know everything. In fact, isn't that the famous philosophical suggestion? If you are looking to find change in your life, if you're looking to find, I don't know, be enlightened, search for the light, see the light, see some kind of spiritual enhancement. Don't talk to a man who has, or says he has, all the answers. Talk to someone who seems to be doing pretty good, but will tell you, I don't know all the answers. I'm still looking. Nobody ever made it out of this life alive. When we go, we're all dead. And when we've gone, when we get through that door, whatever it is on passing, we don't get to pop our head back in and say, hey, guess what? We all have to wait. So, that's my meandering for the night. I hope it gets you just to have a look for yourself. And for those who unfriended me because I have a different opinion to you, that's too bad. I still respect your opinion, and I'd always hope that you might respect mine. Sadly, it doesn't always work that way. So thanks for looking in. Bye for now.